Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. We are on the air. This is Thesis.
3, 2, 1. We are on the air. This is Thesis. Everything is everything. I am your host, Jay Marie. How's it going out there, folks? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us today. Coming to you live from Zombie Land. Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you all for showing up and hanging out with us today. Hope you find yourself well and safe and healthy. Well, we got a huge treat for you guys today. Something I've been working on for a few months now, and finally got it to go through. I've been talking about the interview that we were gonna do, and if you don't follow us on social media, you haven't found out. But our sit down today is gonna be with none other than ex Gambino underboss Sammy the Bull Gravano. So hope you guys are ready. It's gonna be great. All right, let's do this.
Here we go.
All right.
We're good.
Good to see you. Good to finally talk to you face to face, Sammy.
Yeah. It's my pleasure. It really is my pleasure.
Yeah, it really is an honor. I mean, as a former street guy, I mean, I'll tell you, when we were gang banging in the streets, that's when a lot of the stuff that y'all were getting on the news about in the, because I joined the gang at 12, and it was around 87, 88, 89, 90. Y'all went to prison around 91, wasn't it? You went to prison around 91?
In 90, I went to prison.
90, yeah. So see,
yeah.
When we were running in the gangs and streets and everything, we'd see you on the news and stuff, and as a former gangbanger and former gang member, it's kind of like meeting because we used to look up, all the guys that we used to look up to y'all, be like, we want to be like y'all, so y'all kind of had some influence on us on the streets, believe it or not, in a bad way, I guess, but but we're all grown now, so
yeah, we are.
Yeah, so man, I have like 4 pages of stuff, and I'm like, man, what should I ask? And but you know what, man, we're just gonna talk, man to man, gangster to gangster. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Right.
So first off, let's just start off like this. So I joined the gang at 12 years old. Our neighborhood was real rough. We had to kind of start clicking up because there was a lot of racial tension around that time in our neighborhood. The blacks,
right.
And the Mexicans were fighting all the time. So we clicked up, started making gangs, and as time went on, things got different, started getting into different things, drugs, and a bunch of stuff started happening. But let's start off with you're the original gangster. Like, I don't think there's anybody out there. There's a few other, there's some guys out there, but when it comes to gangster, like, you're the man. So in your words, what is a gangster? What is a gangster? Because we see this on movies, on music. We see people, trying to act tough and stuff, but what is a gangster?
Well, a gangster is not necessarily, he's a dangerous guy usually because he does, for the family. He kills for the family and he does stuff like that. But he don't not necessarily, he's not bad all the way around, but he does gangster type of things, tactics, and he's not easy to push around. He's not a racketeer, but racketeers are different. They're more business oriented. A gangster is real street, down to street oriented, and he grew up the same way. I was in a gang. I was, 12, 13 years old. I was with the Rampers already, which was a street gang, same type of thing. And I was in there for quite a long time. When I was 19, I got drafted into the military during the Vietnam War. I trained. I never went to Vietnam, but I trained for, fighting and killing and everything like that. I got out at 21, hit up on the Rampers right away again, but most of them hooked up with crime families, mafia families. So I guess it was my time. A friend of mine introduced me to a guy named Shorty Spiro, who was a tough guy, a legend, and I looked up to him, and he said, Sammy, you're a pretty tough kid with your hands. He said, but sooner or later, you're going to hit the wrong guy and you're going to get killed. If you join with me, you'll be part of a family. You'll be protected. You'll be one of us. I heard family. And I wasn't worried about being protected, but being part of a family and a brotherhood, a secret society, that enthused me. And I went into the Colombo family as a associate. I did my first piece of work there. And years later, I got transferred over to the Gambino family, and it was a different outlook. They were more business oriented, construction, unions, stuff like that. Not that they couldn't kill you, but that wasn't their main interest anymore. Their
Yeah,
interest was making money.
making money. So when you were with the Colombos, there was a lot of more rough stuff going on, knocking off trucks and stuff like that. Y'all used to knock off trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, hijacking, burglaries, stick ups, all kinds of shit like that. The Colombos, they were involved in a war. It was the gallows against Profaci. Carmine Persico was on the other side. So the gallows and Carmine Persico's crew did the fighting in the war. I was with Shorty, who was with Carmine Persico. So I was young, and Shorty told me, kid, go home, get your clothes. We're going to hit the mattresses. And I said, I didn't even know what that was back then. I said, what's that? He said, we're going to live together. We're like a pack of wolves. The gallows are on one side. They're a pack of wolves. They're going to want to kill us. We want to kill them. It's a war. So forget about girlfriends. Forget about business. Forget about money. We'll take care of you. You'll sleep around with us. You'll eat with us. And you'll kill with us. So I got into that war right away.
You you
I
build a
felt,
you build a bond with guys, right? Sort of like when guys go to the war and stuff. When you do war with guys, you there's like a bond that you build that's
oh,
kind of
absolutely.
unbreakable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's real strong because you're living day to day together, 24 hours a day. You're joking with each other, you're cooking and you're eating together, you're going out on missions together. So you build a real strong bond with it. And lucky I had girlfriends, but I really didn't have a girlfriend, an everyday girlfriend. I didn't have a job anyway, so hitting the mattresses was kind of cool for me at that age. And the guys I was with were much older than me. They were all, big names, Sally Ebonese and McIntosh, and really rough guys in the neighborhood. Guys I would look up to. Now all of a sudden I'm bunking in with them, carrying a gun and doing things with them. So I was, it was in a way it was cool, but ultimately it was just a rough night, and we did that for quite a long time.
I think a lot of these youngsters nowadays, they kind of, it almost seems like they think it's a game, uh,
Yeah,
like being in it, it's a different world. But once them bullets start flying, man, that ain't no joke. Hearing them bullets fly
right.
by, hitting the walls next to you, there's no joke behind that. People lose
No,
their lives over some dumb shit, and like these kids, they think they could just act tough or but the tough guy is the smart, the tough
right,
gangster, the smart
right,
gangster who's not gonna lose his life over some dumb shit or get his man killed over some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? We need to have some
right,
brains as
right.
gangsters too.
And one thing I do like about what I went through, I learned the streets. I learned bumps and how to live with it and get away with it, and not being broke and dealing with it. Yeah, I think in the long run, it made me a better man. I did change my life, but it showed me, like in business and life, you hit all kinds of different bumps. So to me, they're not as big. It's not, all right, I could deal with this. When you're able to deal with other things growing up like that in a gang or stuff, you become tougher, and you deal with life a lot better. You got a bad marriage, a bad friend, a business deal that's going haywire. You ain't got enough money to buy something or do something, but you learn how to deal with it without even breaking the law because you're used to it. You got hardened. You're tougher inside as a person. So I'm glad I went through some of those things. I got 22 years of my life, a little over 22 years of my life in prison. And I look back, it was tough. I'm almost glad I went through it because it taught you again how to live with nothing, you know, and you think you're a tough guy, but they're telling you when to go to the bathroom, when to get up, when to eat, when to go to sleep. Freedom is an important thing in life. And when you lose it, you understand how important it is. So I think when you get older, you start to like, right away when you're young, you want it. Somebody says something, boom, you're in their face, they're in your face. When you get older, you kind of like mellow a little bit, say, well, this isn't that important. I don't react that easy anymore, because I've been through it, been there, don't want to do it again. And so it makes a better person, I think, out of you. And I realize like when people are broke or on tough times, I was on tough times all most of my life. So I know what it is and I sympathize with them and I try to encourage them in certain ways, because there's a lot of money out, there's a lot of money in drugs. There's a lot of money in being a gangbanger, but there's a lot of legitimate money out there without going to prison, without worrying about who's going to shoot you or who you're going to shoot. There's a lot of legitimate things you could do in life.
Man, there's so much money left on the table. And that's what a lot of the youngsters, we got to do our part. And of course, we're going to do our part. But, they need to learn that there's a lot of money left on the table for legitimate stuff where, man, we don't got to look over our backs no more. We're running businesses and stuff. We don't got to worry about somebody going to come and, hit you up or whatever, because you're not in that world no more. You know what I'm saying? Once we leave that world, man, there's like a whole weight lifted off your back, because you don't have to be looking around or nothing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's we can't give the law any opportunity to take our freedom, because the law is the law, you know what I'm saying? And if we're out, we know willingly when we're out there kicking in doors or doing whatever it is that we're doing, hijacking trucks or whatever, we know what we're doing. So when they come knocking, what I'm saying, we got nobody else to blame but ourselves, what I'm saying?
Right. And you don't want to lose that. When you lose that freedom, you do some time in prison, you don't have to do that much time, but even 5, 6, 7 years, you start to realize I lost that, lost everything. I love women, so you lose that. So there's a lot of things that you lose, and then you hurt family members. You're sitting in prison, you see some of your family members who come in to visit, they're hurt by your actions and you're hurt by it. And you got people who die while you're in prison that, so you realize that everything you're doing as a gangbanger or a gangster, it's not really all that important when you realize, you don't realize that when you're going through it, but as you get older, you start to realize, and especially when you've been kicked around a little bit, you say, really, I wasted that time.
And like, I make more money now, legit, than I did when I was slanging drugs. It's like, it's amazing. Is it?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. You get your shit in order and you start, you get some shit going with a business, or you find a legitimate job or whatever. You get your shit straight, man. You start bringing in the bread again without having to worry about the bullshit.
Right,
but one thing about the neighborhood is, like you were saying, it toughens you up. Iron, they forge it in the fire. They need fire and heat to shape iron. So it's almost the same when we go through things in life. Rough neighborhood, broken families, these things that happen in life, bad neighborhoods, it hardens us and it makes us tougher, and it makes us, like you said, more able to, when things get rough, we can handle it. Because I mean, shit, I never had nothing growing up. So okay, then we get some and then it goes away. All right, it's cool. It's like I went back to normal. You know what I'm saying? So we can accept it a little bit.
It's easy to deal with issues when you get older and understand, and you've been through it. Like I was living, I didn't have the right place when I got out of prison. So people were saying, well, maybe we could get you a better place. I said, listen, this is my freedom. This is a shithole. I agree with you. It's not the best place to live, but hey, this is 10 times better than prison. So to me, it wasn't bad at all. There's rugs, there's this, there's that. There's a television. I could go to the bedroom when I want. I could cook and eat when I want. So to me, it was like heaven. To them, but I stepped it up, and I'm in business and I do a lot of things. Even a lot of guys, I tell them, the guy says, what would I do? I don't have education. Go be a plumber, carpenter, an air conditioning guy. Yeah, I don't want to work like that for the rest of my life. Good, learn it, work, and open your own business. You don't have to stay as a job. You become an independent. Everybody needs a carpenter, electrician, a plumber at some point. So now, before
Always.
you know it, you buy a truck, you buy two trucks, you got five guys working for you, and bing, and you don't need the education. You need the smarts and the balls to grind it out.
That's
And
good.
that's what the streets teaches you. You're tough enough to grind it out. And once you're starting to use your head, and you don't want to go back to prison. Usually, those guys are, successful in business as well.
Being broke, you learn that you have to fix stuff. When something breaks, you ain't got no money. So, my pops used to show us, you got to fix stuff because we can't afford it or whatever. And it
Right.
teaches you skills, plumber, building. That stuff is always going to be needed in society.
Always.
You don't need a degree. You don't need all these
No.
things. Shit, like you said, you got some balls, get you a truck. Before you know it, you got so much work, you're going to have to hire some help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
my studio here where I'm in, I built this by myself.
That's nice.
And it's made out of wood. It's like a little tiny house, but it's my studio. I did it all by myself because I learned along the way a couple
Right.
things, you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
People don't understand. I think a plumber. I had plumbing in my office. The plumbing was stuffed up, whatever. So I call a plumber. He comes down, snaked the wires, did this, did that. Maybe he was here an hour, right? $185. So I mean, that's not bad for a guy who don't have an education. So being a plumber is not a bad thing.
And he got
He's
about he got another five more, six more stops to do. You know what I'm saying? By
right.
the end of the
He's
day, he
got
done
he's
made a
got his
thousand
own
dollars.
he's got his own little truck. He stayed there here an extra hour because he knew who I was. He was talking to me, and he says, "Yeah, I bought a truck." He says, "I got a couple of guys working." He says, "I got another truck." So I said, "Good, you're using your head. That's great." So he said, "You know what, Sammy? This 185, it's on me." No, no, no. Let me pay for it, bro. I appreciate it, but let me pay for it. You earned it. I would call somebody else. I give you 100. So, and it was great having a guy like that think like that, and he was, he's successful now. He's got a couple of trucks, a couple of guys working for, right, and he probably had a couple of stops that day, so he could make up to fucking $1,000, $800 for the day. That's not that bad. And if you're
That's,
doing that every day, bro, you don't have to rob. You don't have to do shit.
you ain't
Go
gotta
to
do
work.
shit.
Right.
In the neighborhood, one of the good things about you know the things that we used to do when we were in gangs, that stuff ain't good, shooting each other, whatever. That's dumb. But it builds up this like a network of people. Like the people from my neighborhood. I'm from Oak Cliff, the neighborhood that we're from in Dallas, Oak Cliff. Oh, you were in Dallas, weren't you, when you were in the program?
Yes, I was in
What?
there for a little while. I went to Houston at first, and they didn't want to keep me there for whatever reason. They moved me. I was there for about a week and a half, and then they moved me to Dallas. And then I was in Dallas for a while, and I went downtown Dallas, and there was all the clubs, nightclubs, and all the discos and all kinds of shit. And one of the agents came with me because he said, "Sammy, you want to go down?" I said, "I don't have a car. I don't know nobody. And I don't even know how to get there and, whatever." He says, "You want me to come with you?" I said, "Yeah, if you want to just hang out." So he came and drank with me. We went out. And Dallas was nice. I liked it. Met a couple of little young chippies over there and rocked and rolled a little bit. And then I got transferred out of Dallas and I went to Colorado. And then I stayed there for about 6 months. That gave me a total of 8 months. I was in the program and I said, "Listen, I quit. I'm going home and I'm changing my name back to Salvatore Gravano."
What was
"Why would
your
you do that?"
what was your
I said,
name?
Jimmy Moran,
Jimmy Moran.
an Irish name. Italians and Irish don't get along. I had an Irish name. I'll give you a stupid little story. When I went to Arizona with my family, I went looking for like a mini farm. I had a farm at one time. Figured I have a little farm, hang out, have a couple of chickens or whatever the fuck it is, and just hang. So there's a guy from across the street. He pulled up with a tractor, and he says, "You're looking for a little mini farms?" It was 5 acre lots. So I said, "Yeah." He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Jimmy." He said, he introduced himself, and he said, "What's your last name?" So I said, Moran. Oh, she's an Irish guy. I said, yeah, yeah. He said, good, as long as we don't get those fucking grease balls over here. I felt like saying, you cocksucker. I'm a grease ball.
God damn, man.
It was stupid. It was funny, but I
That's
didn't answer him. I didn't care.
that's hilarious, man. Imagine that
Yeah.
shit. So, so in the neighborhood, knowing so many, like we had a huge clique, back in the day. There was probably about two or three gangs that all clicked together. We had the LHB, were the Los Homeboys, then we had the Rural Knights, which was us, and a couple other smaller gangs, and we were huge. And what I was gonna get at is that knowing so many guys, you build up a network, and I still know
Yeah.
a lot of these dudes. I'm still in the same neighborhood that we grew up in. Across the street, my homeboy George and Hector had a shootout right here across the street, and
Right.
everybody got shot that day. And my other homeboy got killed. They left him in his car across the street. So I'm in the neighborhood. I haven't left. I mean, I left for a minute, but I came back because my parents are still here. But you build up a network of tough guys, of good guys. There's a there's like an ethic, among gangsters. There's something there like
Yeah.
that brotherhood earlier, but there's like this ethic, like this like loyalty with each other, you know,
Yeah.
and when you need something, you could reach out. You can always reach out, but also in those times was like back in the day, especially when some of us would come across like because I used to sell drugs, and then we also used to make stuff fall off of the docks. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get something big, you have 100 dudes to reach out to. I got
Right.
1,000 pounds of marijuana. Shit, I got 100 dudes I could reach out to get rid of this stuff, or I got a pallet worth of drills or a pallet worth of whatever.
Right.
It creates this network. And now we're all grown, we're all legit, and that network still exists. To
Right.
to
Yeah.
hire people for our business. The guys that work for our company, they're all gangs. The boss is a gangster. I'm like the consigliere. I'm the number two. Everybody's street, but that ethic
Right.
continues in business. We know what we have to do in business to grow, to build, and then also we don't get pushed around because some of
Right.
these
Yeah.
customers that think they're dealing with, I, like so my bro Mondo, he's the boss. uh I'm the old timer. I've been in this company for forever, but now he's the boss, so like I'm the number two. And at first, like I had to whoa, hey, that gangster, because he want to rock and roll, he want to fight with customers and shit, like, oh, hold him up. Hey,
Yeah.
this is business. We got to look at
Yeah.
things a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
let's kick it back. Let's and then everything's smooth. But you got rules to follow, even in business, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You got to follow rules at some point. Everybody does. I see a lot of people, they don't want cops. You got to have cops. If you don't have cops, you have anarchy. I always say, like, listen, cops, I'm not a cop. I'm not crazy about them, but they're not bad. Some of them are bad. Some of them are decent. But if my wife or my daughter or mother was getting raped, I mean, I want a cop. I want somebody to protect her. I mean, I would, but if I'm not there, I want cops.
Absolutely.
If somebody's having a heart attack, what am I going to call? A social worker? I want to call a fucking cop who's going to come down with an ambulance. And so, I mean, it's
Where
crazy, but
where do they come up with this shit? They
I
want
don't
social
even
work.
know.
You know what I'm saying? To come, oh, we got call 911. We're gonna send you a social worker while somebody's beating the shit out of their wife or the neighbor. The fuck
Yeah,
social worker gonna get his ass beat? You know?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you need rules. No matter how
Shit,
tough you are, whatever you are, you need rules. Everybody's got to abide by rules. Otherwise, you have anarchy. You have you know problems with everything. You got to start watching your back again. Everything. No, we want to have nice family. I got kids. I want the kids to be safe. I hate what's going on in schools today. The guys weird shit, and I don't care if that's what you want to be and want. I don't give a fuck, but not with the kids. Stay away from the kids. So you want to walk around, do what you want, but
the world's going
not.
crazy. The world's going, it's going crazy right in front
I
of our
know.
eyes and shit.
I know. I
And
never
and
see anything like
we're
it.
old school. I'm I'm about to be 50. You know, we're kind of old timers, you know what I'm saying? So we're used to
Right,
the where this shit wasn't, everywhere, you know what I'm saying?
right,
And
right.
another thing that you're talking, man, I saw this video the other day, Sammy. You probably came across it was all over Twitter, where some dude was attacking a lady in the subway. He was hitting her with a cane and stuff. Everybody was just standing around recording. And the first thing in my mind is like, where are the men at? And if there's any men just standing around recording, like what kind of balls? Well, they ain't got no balls because they're just standing there. I swear to Christ, like if something like that were to happen in front of me or any of my dudes, ain't nobody just gonna stand around recording some man attacking a woman, you know?
Right. Yeah, I know. I know. It's sick. It is. It's sick. And I don't see where a guy. I mean, he's got to be such a low life. What are you beating up on a woman or a kid or something in the middle of the street? I don't get it at all. I feel the same way. I don't think I would choke. I could never stand there and just watch. You know, I hope it don't happen in front of me because I'm going to stick my 2 cents in. Even at my age, I'll definitely. I can't watch that.
Yeah, now I can't stand. I can't even imagine. And I can assume. Okay, let's assume the guy's pretty big, and let's say he's just a huge monster. Damn. All right, I need two guys, you and you. Let's get this guy. You know what I'm saying? Let's get him. Let's rock his world real quick and hold him down until the cops
Right,
show up. But let's show this. Let's show him a lesson. You know what I'm saying? This dude's beating
right.
up a lady, man. And the problem is, like society. There's a lot of tough guys out there. There's a lot of old school guys out there, ex-military people. They're tough and they're everywhere. But
Yeah,
there is a lot of it's like a lot of men that that are just like too soft, that won't
they got
step
soft. They got soft.
won't step up.
Today, tomorrow, our forefathers went into the military, fought wars, that did everything. I don't know if there was a war. I don't know who the fuck would go. Who would go fight anymore? These kids are never going to go fight. I don't know how you would win a war. I don't even know how you would fight it with these kids. They're all that woke bullshit. They're all screwed up.
It's amazing. It's
It is. It really is amazing. It's something weird. But I guess that's what happens. Everything changes. The world changes. Everything changes.
they've
So,
never suffered. Folks who think that way, that everything's rainbows and lollipops and think everything's unicorns, like the world is beautiful. Yeah, the world's a beautiful place, but they've never suffered. They never seen the hood. They've never seen the homeless people, or they've never experienced drug addiction or none of these things. Everything's
right,
been so their whole world is a whole different place. It's not like that at all.
right.
The way they're thinking.
Well, ever since this Biden got in, the country got so fucked up. They're seeing it now. Fucking homeless people are by the trillions all over the place. I mean, they got the borders open. It's not Mexican. It's people
Every
coming from all over the world.
everywhere.
I was watching. They had about a couple of thousand people were online to come in. None of them were brown or white or they were all black. I don't know where they were coming from,
That means they
Africa,
went across the ocean to
to get
Mexico and
to
then to
through
get.
Mexico. I'm surprised Mexico even lets them go through.
It's
But
amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Sammy, you know what really sucks is I work with homeless people in my neighborhood, and I'm pretty blessed, so I try to bless them as much as I can with money, but I also talk to them, get to know them. I work with a few that I've been working for a bunch of years, and it's a shame because there's a lot of people that can use simple. I mean, damn, to them, $20 a day, damn, they can get some food, maybe stay at the shelter. They're giving billions away to Ukraine and to
yeah,
nonprofits, and they're giving money away to everybody except the people who actually could use it, or who actually need our own citizens, our own
absolutely.
neighbors. You know what I'm saying? Homeless
Look
people
what
who
they did to those Hawaiian people, bro. The president gives them $700 per family. It may be three, four people in the family. What are you going to do with $700? And you give 120 billion to Ukraine. Something's radically wrong with that. Hawaiians they're us. They're Americans. And I don't get that either. I just don't. I don't. I see these things. I say I just can't believe it. Homeless people all over the place, and you're giving $120 billion to Ukraine. I don't get it.
You know
I do
what?
get it.
Yeah,
They're robbing.
we get it. They're
Yeah,
criminals.
they're robbing that fucking
Sammy,
money left and right.
see, folks like us, we know criminal minds. We know any opportunity that I had to take some money or to find a way to snag some whatever, you know what I'm saying? Some stuff
Yeah,
on the fake legit, where I'm like selling some weed for the other guy or whatever, but other stuff, always looking for that opening, always looking for that back door, always looking for somebody to slip. That's the criminal mind. These
right.
politicians, that's what they do.
Yeah,
They got to be getting kickbacks from somewhere. Some of these people, they go in regular folk. Nancy Pelosi, she went in whatever 100 years ago, was making a few bucks a year. Now she's a millionaire. How they do that? If you was a public servant,
they take the money because what happens is she's been a politician forever. She's worth $100 million. How the fuck with that kind of salary? Where'd you get this money from? You know what they do? They make laws. So they'll tell you a global warming, and they'll tell you to buy electric cars. So they put money in the stock market and push these companies, and then the company will come to them for a loan, and they're going to grant they will give you a $2 billion loan, build a nice factory. The stock goes up. They're in the stock before it went up, and they're walking away clean. People like me and you, we see that, but you know, but the regular public, they're blind. They don't see it.
they just buy whatever the TV tells them. A lot of folks,
Yeah,
now luckily there's a bunch of new media, like what you're doing and a bunch of other people are doing, trying to wake people up, offering information that the mass media ain't showing, and that's helping wake people up, and that needs to happen, man, because
yeah. Just
man,
Americans. And then they're always with this racist bullshit, all that stuff, because they can't stand us together. They want us always fighting. You know, I said in one of my podcasts, I said, give me three white guys, three Mexican guys, three black guys, a couple of women, different races, nationalities, different religions, and have us all stand there together, talking, playing cards, laughing. They pull their hair out. They can't stand that because if we unite, they can't beat us.
that's right.
So they're always throwing shit in the game. He said this, he's a racist, she's this one's that. And it's all bullshit.
It's all it actually, because they know it'll trick some people. Like Anna, she's studying psychology, all this stuff. These
Right.
these 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 people, they know all of that stuff too. They know psychology, and they know that some people are gonna buy it. They understand that a lot of people ain't gonna fall for that racist stuff. Oh, the whites against the blacks or against the Mexicans, but they're just speaking to the people who will fall for it, the ones that are gonna riot or attack people or do whatever. There's a
Right.
whole bunch of people who, you
Oh,
know,
there's tons of people they don't get it because they never had that, what you said, that criminal mind. They don't see it. They look at us as bad. And then when we argue or fight, or they make us fight it with each other, look, they're nothings. They're garbage. And that's what they love. They love that. They don't want to ever see it. This conversation me and you are having, that makes these people throw up. Look
oh,
at these guys.
absolutely.
I mean, they're getting along like forget about it, and they're talking the right way. They're not hating on one another, so they'll think of something to say. Well, the way Sammy was talking, he don't really like this guy's or whatever. They'll just
They'll
talk
find some
weird shit.
bullshit. They'll make up some
They'll
bullshit.
make up some bullshit that these things don't happen. These things kill them
And
because
see,
once we see it together and we're together, they can't beat us when we're together. That old saying, united we stand, divided we fall.
and here's how smart they are, Sammy. I study a lot, as you can see them books back there. The Art of War, Sun Tzu. I
Mm-hmm.
study. It says, if you got a chance to separate the enemy, separate them.
Yeah,
Divide them, because you can handle them more like that. You're
right.
correct. They need us divided, because if we
Yeah,
were all united in the way we think and the way we want our officials to follow the law and to behave a certain way. We want these things. but they rather us be worried about, you know, man, dumb shit. You know, some dude was fucking up, shooting at a cop. He died. I'm supposed to riot. He was shooting at a cop, but he got shot. Whatever. Now I'm supposed to riot. That shit don't make no sense. You know?
No, no. I mean, he knew what he's doing. He was in the street. He's got in trouble. He's shooting it out. You know, I give him, kudos. I think you're nuts because you're not going to win. So, I mean, but
You can't make no money when you're dead. That's the thing
no,
is, when you're dead, it's over. It's like no money, no broads, no nothing. You're dead.
right.
It's over. You know?
Well, I mean, there is some broads because guys like us, we go to hell and it's strip clubs and everything. There, we meet all the bad girls. We'll be cool.
I'll see you in hell. I'll see you in hell, Sammy.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, I was thinking because we we do stuff on this, well, not anymore, but when we used to, we shoot it out and we do dumb shit, people getting hurt or whatever. And I think people have a misconception well, I guess that when we were, I don't know, when I was doing that, when I was doing those things, I wasn't really awake in my mind. I really didn't give a shit about nothing,
Right.
but people like us, I think people wonder whether like gangsters love America, because they're a bunch of thugs, they're a bunch of like, we're like pirates, we're like fucking pirates, and it's easy to kind of think, man, those people don't love the country or something. Do gangsters love America, Sammy?
Oh, absolutely. We love America more than they do. We may do things amongst ourselves and do certain things, but we don't hurt innocent people. We look for a move. We will sell weed or whatever you were doing and rob a truck, but we don't hurt our own people. I always said I get along good with Mexicans for the simple reason that Mexicans are very family oriented. They're like Italians in that way. And I find that the only people that are like us is like Mexicans. They're very family oriented too. They could be the baddest dude in the world. They go home, they got a mom, kids, barbecue, talk, hang out. They love their families and they respect the country. Yeah, they're thieves. They do certain things, but they love their country. When these politicians do things, they don't give a fuck about none of us. Kids, women, all of us. We're all cockroaches to them. And the more they break us up, the easier it is to deal with us. That's what it's all about. It's always about money, power, and greed. So
Man,
with them,
yeah.
they're a different kind of crook. I would want to be my label as a crook. I would take that label in a minute, but I never did the things like that. I never took advantage of innocent old people or women or children or something to make money. I never did that. So,
That's the difference between people like us and people like politicians who are criminals, is that our only power, Sammy, comes in the in the criminal act. Our only power comes in the weapon we have, or the threat, or of violence against somebody. That is, we can hurt some, but it ends there. These sons of bitches can come take you home. They can make laws. They can put you away. They have the power of the government behind their crookedness, behind their criminality. That's what the difference is.
right.
And I think we as citizens, right, we should be. A lot of people are like, they don't want to pay attention to whatever's going on with the laptop or whatever, all this bullshit, right? But nah, because those criminals harm the country more than any simple criminal like you or I,
Oh,
any strict
10,
criminal.
10 times more. And they have no morals at all. They don't care how many people will die and who they are or what their race is. We're all the same thing to them. We're cockroaches to them. And the more they could just step on us and crush us, push us out of the way and take things, and then they'll give you a little pat on the head. You can get a little job, or you could get this, or you can get that, and they try to keep you like that. I'm broke, I'm fucked up, but I'm happy. They want you like that, and they can do everything. They want to own everything, and there's never enough for them. A lot of these guys are billionaires, and they're still fucking greedy.
And,
You know,
and when like when inflation happens, it affects the people, the poorest people among us in the neighborhood. It affects
Okay.
them more because they're living on fixed income. My parents are living in, they're retired, they're living on fixed income. When everything goes up, it's like the poorest people among us suffer. And then
Yeah.
they want to act like they care about the citizens or they care about the population. Like on the
Yeah.
border, they act like they care. People die in the desert, Sammy. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
now right now they're just crossing and putting them on buses and bringing them into wherever. But other parts where they have to cross deserts and stuff, people die. They don't care. You know,
No.
they don't care
No, they
about
don't give.
kids dying or being
Listen, even the
held.
people they let against the or let it coming through, they're not searching. They bring in drugs, fentanyl, and stuff like that. They're not being tested. They could have AIDS. They could have any kind of disease. You see, you know what? You really don't give a damn about nothing. So those people could come in and damage a lot of people. At least check them for diseases. Check who they are. You might be letting in terrorists coming in, and we have
And
another terror attack coming down the road, but you let them in. You don't even try to stop them, and oh, maybe open the border and let them come through a legitimate way, and make sure who you're dealing with. You know, and that's when you don't have a border, you don't have a country
Sammy,
because you don't know where they're coming and what they're coming for.
you know, and there's rules, right? Just like gangsters follow rules, and there's rules, but there's rules of nature too. So people try to say, "Ah, well, borders are just imaginary lines." All right, well, let's imagine that shit. So you have, you know, we have a house. You have your house. It has a door. Maybe you have a fence. That line demarks your you know, your property, right? So your sovereignty ends at that mark. You know, now the doorway, you get more sovereignty inside your house because if somebody's kicking the door in, then you know you can, you know, because that, you know, somebody's attacking your house, you're worried about your safety. Now you can use different, you know, force against that. So
Right.
we take that whole image about a house. It's like somebody comes to your house, they knock on the front door. Hey, how you doing? You let them in. They ask for permission to come in, or you let them in your house. If somebody jumps in through your window and starts eating your food, starts sleeping on your bed, hey, there's only enough food and only enough room for a certain amount of people in my house. Plus, you came in through the window and you want to stay in my house. Those rules are the same with our nation. There's only a certain amount of jobs. There's only a certain amount of food. There's only a certain amount of resources that we have all, you know, built up to now. But when you get an influx of another 10 million people in the span of a couple years or whatever, damn, that throws a bunch of shit into a mess. Why can't
Right.
we, you know, why can't they just follow the rule? Hey, knock on the front door, like, right, you know, get in line. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
But
That's what I'm
Sammy,
saying.
here's
Let
what
them in the right.
they need a permanent underclass because they see that a lot of us in the hoods are waking up. We're starting to learn some shit. We're starting to wake up about what they do to us as citizens. They need a permanent underclass, so they're letting so many people in because at some point those folks will be voters and they're gonna get, you know, 10 million voters or whatever. And
Right.
so at some point they know that they're playing chess. They're
Yeah.
looking 10 years ahead. They're they ain't dumb. They ain't dumb.
No.
Nancy
No. They're not.
Pelosi, man, these fuckers ain't
No.
dumb.
They're not. They're not dumb. They're all college educated. So a lot of them are lawyers, doctors, and they're not dumb. They're just greedy, selfish bastards, and they don't care about nothing. Bothers them. If people die, they don't care. A school shooting, first thing they come out, let's take everybody's guns. They don't care what really happened. There's a kid who's a nut who shot kids. Put him in jail. Take the gun away from him. Put police or ex-military guys to protect the school.
Yeah.
Don't take somebody's guns. They're legitimate people to protect them. But they want to take, so every time something happens, they blow it up and try to take everybody's guns. They don't want those guns because if we ever wake up, we might take we might take it back, bro.
The who was it? The Japanese, they asked one of the main Japanese guys during World War II or whatever. They said, well, why don't we invade the mainland? And he said, because behind every blade of grass there's gonna be a rifle. You know what I'm saying? And you're
Right.
right. You know, if shit goes down, You know what I'm saying? We're talking about hundreds of millions of, you know,
Guns and shit. Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
rocking heavy. Like, another thing about like, so all of my bros are gangsters. Like we're all ex gangsters. We're all legit now, but everybody packs, you know what I'm saying? Because we're in Texas, so we carry now, so all of my dudes, whenever we go to a cookout or whatever, we're the safest. We're, family cookout, whatever, we're the safest place because there's probably, like 10 straps, you know what I'm saying, is hanging around, so that makes it
right,
good about Texas. Uh,
right. Yeah,
we got that.
Texas is good for that.
Yeah, we got that right to
Right.
protect ourselves. And that, man. And I was gonna say a second ago. So when we bring up, like, for instance, the school shooting happens, and then people with wisdom who want to find some solutions, they say, well, like you said, why don't we arm some security guards and put them, or some ex-military, whatever, and their response will be some dumb shit like, what, you want more guns in school? Like, what the fuck? Like, they don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Once they don't understand, I don't. It doesn't even make any sense. Who how folks think that way. Like, are
Yeah.
you trying to protect kids or not? You know, it's like,
No, they really don't care about the kids. They care about taking out guns because they were afraid of. Because you got to remember, in the Constitution, guns were made to defend ourselves from a corrupt government and to protect our homes, property. But the main thing was to protect yourself from a corrupt government. Because if nobody has guns, the government has all that power, then no matter what you say or do, it don't mean shit to them. But they worry about those guns. They worry about people like you and me getting friendly and having the same thoughts. That scares them. So that's what it's all about, I think.
you know,
So whatever.
I was kind of thinking a lot about this, because it's almost like, so you have Cosa Nostra, right? You have your thing. There's rules and there's ethic that you follow. You drew blood, and you gave your life to these rules and to this ethic, and it's kind of like something like this, Sammy. It's like when we change our lives for the better, when we decide to be good citizens, with each other, and be productive in business or whatever. It's like, and not only that, but when we take an oath, like in our heart, like, I love this country. Like, I would, if needed to, I'd go to war for this country. If
Right,
whatever. Like, because I love, this is the nation that my grandchildren are gonna grow up in. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So it's like, I give my life to this thing. It's like this thing of ours, America, the
right,
Constitution, our revolution. That's our thing now. You know what I'm saying? I would die for that. And
right.
it's like, and when politicians like break the rules or whatever, it's like there has to be consequences. There has to be consequences, or else
Right.
we lose it all.
Or else you lose it all and you have anarchy. And then all of a sudden you lose your freedom and your rights. So America is not that sweet anymore. It become like a third world country. And a lot of people would think this conversation, they'll say, well, they're crazy. That'll never happen. Yeah, well, it did happen in Cuba. It happened in a whole fucking bunch of places. Don't say it could never happen. The Roman Empire fell. A lot of fucking countries, powerhouses fell. And I think we're in that same position right now. If we don't bail it out, um, crazy, but I think if Trump don't get back in and Biden gets back in with that, it's going to fall.
Yeah, wisdom would say to us, these things have happened before. Keep an eye on them, and when you start seeing politicians act this way, when you start seeing the government act this way, you, the people, you, the citizens, have to do something.
Yeah,
Like you were saying once, you were saying, some of the wiser captains and bosses would use violence as a last resort. That's last
right.
resort, last desperation, last resort stuff. But in the meantime, there's plenty of work to be done to like steer this ship in the right direction. Voting,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course, but
yeah.
work that we do out here, like what I do,
Now,
what you do.
if they're rigging these elections, our vote don't mean shit. And hey, want to know something? Biden got more votes in a black area than Obama got. Is that possible? Get the fuck out. It's impossible.
Sammy, let
This
me tell you.
white retarded fuck is going to get more fucking votes than Obama got in a black area. It's impossible.
I say this, man. These fuckers are powerful. You know, here's the thing: is on one hand, people say that the government could do all these things and all kinds of shit. Then on the other hand, they can't do that. Like what you're talking about, the election.
Right.
But that shit happened in Mexico in '88. Check it out, Sammy. All they did was come out to the TV and said, "We won." Huh? Nah, hold them up. The machine broke. The machine broke. That's it. What the fuck? The other candidates were like, hold them up. What do you mean the machine broke? That's all they did. Nah, the machine broke. We won. Sammy. And that was it. And they took the presidency. Man, then the whole corruption came afterwards. There's a process to these things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we're blind, we can't see it because I'm too busy worried about dumb shit about my skin color or dumb shit, whatever, trying to, but if we're awake, you could pay attention a little bit. You could see this shit happening like right in front of your eyes. But then you got to be careful what you say because, and then they'll want to cut you off or knock you out of, take your money, whatever, because
they'll shut you down.
And that's another clue. Like, why y'all shutting people down who bring up this specific topic? It's like, what y'all trying to hide?
Right.
We're gangsters, Sammy. We're pirates. We're fucking we're bandidos. We're bandits. You know what I'm saying? We know what's up. But
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But that's why they can't stand when we're together or getting along. They try every gimmick in the world to break us up or use every word somebody says, starting with this racist thing. And now because they want to, you kids go to college today, they come out retarded. They're smart, but they're fucking retarded.
But knowing a bunch of bullshit, if you know a bunch of stuff, but it's all lies, it's all bullshit, it doesn't matter. You're not really smart. You just know a bunch of shit,
And she's arguing, yes, they can get pregnant. Well, science proves that. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Fucking Twilight Zone. We live in the fucking Twilight.
I know. They can get pregnant. Unbelievable.
I wanted to ask before I forget. You got to meet and talk to and sit down with some pretty heavy hitters in the mob back in the day. Joe Colombo and Paul Castellano. A lot of captains and probably sit downs with other bosses from other families.
Right.
And was there like what is it like was there a certain quality that they all had? Maybe I don't know because getting to those levels in business or in the mob or whatever, it takes something. Is there something that you can kind of think of or point to that they probably all shared a certain quality about them?
Two things. One, most of them had good common sense about things. They're not super educated, but they had good common sense. The other thing is wisdom. Through the years, as you get older, you get wisdom. You learn about different situations that happen, not only to yourself, to other people. Now, when they become on that level, they're listening to hundreds of different people's problems. And they start to understand their problems, how to solve their problems, to help them. That's giving them wisdom. Tato gave me an answer one time. I told him I was young, and I said, Tato, one thing that baffles me, you're not educated, you're just like me a little bit, but you're never fucking wrong. How does that happen? He said, Sammy, you see that garage across the street? The roof was about 14, 16 feet high. He said, I'm sitting out here, some guy came and told me he was going to jump off the roof with a flip, land on his feet. I said, okay. I didn't know he could do it. He can't do it. He did it. He hurt his back, fucked himself up a little bit. And I saw it, exactly what happened. Another guy told me the same thing. And I told him, I don't know, it's not safe. You better be careful. And he did it. He broke his ankle. He broke something in his back, something. And by the third or fourth guy who came and told me that, I told him, listen, you know what's going to happen? You're not going to land right. Even if you land right, you're going to break your leg, your ankle, your spine. It's not, don't do it. It's not a good thing. He said time. I saw 1, 2, 3. By the fourth person, I knew what the fuck was going to happen to that guy. That's wisdom. It's expressed in a weird way, but it's wisdom. So you're going to see people as you get older and older, because you're still a young guy at 50 years old. You're going to see people who do certain things in business or in life, or gangbangers. You already got a head start. You've seen things. You know what happens at a certain point. 2 or 3 guys are heavy. They're holding. And some guy comes up and he's going to get nasty with them. And, Bo, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're making a mistake. Don't do this, because you know the result of what's going to happen. That's wisdom. So you're giving this guy great advice. You may not be the most educated guy on the planet, but your wisdom and your common sense, just like you're talking now. A lot of these things, these laws and rules and regulations, they don't make sense. So they're stealing. We understand that. That's common sense. Most of the public, even smart people, don't have common sense. How does Nancy Pelosi, you said, have millions upon millions of dollars, and she's working for $150,000 a year forever? She never had a business. She never had. Where did you make all this money? So common sense alone made you answer that question. That's common sense. Then wisdom could take you even further in that, bro, she's a master thief. I was nothing compared to her. She's a master thief. That's how she's got. I did it. I didn't wind up with hundreds of million, 100 million. She did it. She got 100 million. She's a master thief. Because there's no other way she could have made that money. And it goes on and on and on. It's one person after the other. So the whole system shows us what they are. You know, they're great to preach to us. You know, don't do this. But don't ask me. I can do the same thing, and don't tell me not to do it. You know, do as I say. Don't do what I do. I want you to do what I tell you to do. Now, don't look at me. I'm going to do all kinds of shit. But you do this. So you'll see that. You understand it. It becomes black and white. And that's what happened with most of these bosses. They went through so many things in life. They get up in age, and the wisdom just keeps growing and growing and growing, especially if they're smart. And you don't have to be a college-educated guy to be smart. You could be college-wise, I'm dumb as a rock. But I got a Harvard degree in the street. I'm getting a little buzz that going like this, where it's almost time to wrap up.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Let me just say this, Sammy. I really appreciate your time, and it really is an honor. It was an honor to sit and talk to you. And if you don't mind, I just want to bless you with a good word, Sammy. The life that you live, the life that I've lived, and thousands of other wise guys, street guys have lived, you know, it's bad. But when we decide to change our lives, it doesn't only do us good, but it does good for those around us.
Absolutely.
You have decided here, and you know, recently is that you want to do good now. You're not going to do crime anymore. You're not going to do these things that you didn't go back to the mob or nothing like so many other guys did. Sammy, they're going to talk about you for hundreds of years. You're a historical figure now. As them, but the difference between you and a lot of these other guys is that your story didn't end. Oh, he died in the prison, or he came out and he started doing shit again, went back and died in prison, or got whacked or disappeared or whatever. Your story ends by the people, by the citizens, and by you making these movies and people learning more about your story and stuff. And you're gonna leave a legacy that didn't end that just where you just disappeared or you just died in prison. Your legacy is going to end in a positive note, Sammy, because of all the things that you're doing.
Right.
I am honored. I am honored, Sammy, to talk to you, to speak with you. And if there's anything that I can help you with, anything you need, please just reach out. It was an honor, Sammy, to speak with you.
I appreciate it. And you're the way you talk, it was a pleasure talking to you. You're a man's man. And one thing you left out about me is that I'm good looking.
Oh man, hey, look, we're the same, man. You got it. Hey, what's up with it, Sammy? I love you, bro. Stay safe. You got good people. You got good people around you.
Oh, I got great people.
All right, Sammy. We'll see. We'll see y'all soon. Okay. Well, there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. That was a great conversation, man. Sammy, he's a really stand-up guy, as you could tell, man. He's a really good guy, and I really enjoyed talking with him. I hope you really enjoyed it also. If you did, please tell your friends about it. Share with your friends. Hit like on the YouTube. Hit subscribe on the YouTube. Follow us. Hit subscribe everywhere else. On Spotify as our home base, or wherever you listen to our podcast. Please, let's blow this show up. I want to thank all of you guys for hanging out with us today, staying all the way through. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I love you guys, and this is just part of what we do, and I really enjoy what we do here, and I hope I'm doing well for you guys. I hope y'all like that. So in the meantime, I want you guys to stay safe, take care of yourself, stay healthy. Check back with us soon, because we will have more stuff coming up soon. So don't worry about it. We'll be here. What else? That's it. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you next time. Peace out, folks.
This is Thesis.